to what I believe is the first ever live Twins system recap. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking this out. If you're watching live, hit me up in the chat. If you're watching on replay, stick around. We are going to get into stuff just like we usually do on these system recaps. Not going to waste a lot of time here. Actually, let's just get right into a highlight. Here. Bear with me just a moment. I'm going to get Junior Severino hit a home run for the Saints. That was just epic blast. Look at this thing. To dead center field, Junior Severino goes over the batter's eye in St. Paul. That is an epic blast. His 26th overall home run of the season for Junior Severino. That was his second with the Saints. He takes the hot dog hat, Austin Martin style, sideways. There you see the replay of it going over the batter's eye. Incredible. We may need to take a second look at that one. That was so nice. But yeah, Junior Severino, what a year he's having. And I mean, that's one of those home runs that you don't need to even get the numbers on to know that it was just an incredible blast. But 113.1 miles per hour off the bat was the exit velocity for Severino. 113.1, and it went 461 feet. Now we had some controversy, I would say, over an Austin Martin home run that definitely was overstated earlier this week. He had a home run, I think they said was 495 on Baseball Savant. It was not 495. I think that Severino home run was 461. Honestly, I think we should pull that up again. That was a blast. Run it back. Oh, bear with me just a moment here. There we go. This guy does not get cheated. He takes some huge cuts, as you might expect, over that batter's eye. As you might expect, he does have a pretty high strikeout rate. He's been looking good at first base to me, though, Junior Severino. He's been, they have Brooks Lee there now. He's up. They just have a very crowded infield situation in St. Paul. So Severino's getting some looks at first base kind of by need there, but also, you spin it around to look at, where his potential opportunities may come with the Twins. And that's a spot, there's not really going to be a lot of second base, shortstop, third base. Not that he plays shortstop. Severino's a natural second baseman who mostly plays third. But yeah, he's never really played first base until now. And they're giving him a look there and he's looked pretty good. So pretty encouraged with how Junior Severino is playing. According to the Saints media team on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, he is the fourth St. Paul Saint to clear that batter's eye at CHS Field and the first one to do it since they've become a Twins affiliate. So pretty amazing. Go check out their page too on Twitter, X, whatever. Because there's also Austin Martin made a nice diving catch in center field. They have a highlight of up on there. I didn't grab that here, but I wanted to call that out. So Junior Severino, very impressive home run. We've got another minor league highlight we'll get to in just a moment. But first, we do want to shift gears into the Twins game. We're gonna maybe edit the order a little bit here in this live system recap from what we're used to. I usually go top to bottom. But really wanted to shout out Junior Severino real quick there because, again, that was just a blast. The Twins lost last night, unfortunately, to the Pirates. They struck out 15 times. Actually, let's bring that up. Twins hitters. Here we go. I feel like I'm like censoring myself right now. You don't need to see my face anyway. So here's the lineup. As you can see, they did get 11 hits. Polanco, Kepler, Vasquez, Taylor, all with multi-hit games. So they got 11 hits, but the 15 strikeouts was killer. It was a bigger zone than usual. I think it was a pitcher's strike zone last night, I would say. But the Twins didn't really take care of business or take advantage of the opportunities they had. Just 4 runs, as you see there, on those 11 hits and 4 walks. They did fairly well. I mean, actually, they were very solid with runners in scoring position. 5 for 14 overall. Overall, they did solid. with runners in scoring position. Again, 5 for 14. That's like a 350 something average. That's pretty rock solid. However, and this has kind of been the problem for a long time now, is they could not get the job done with the bases loaded. So the Twins, they had the bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th inning, I believe it was. Yes. Yeah. Bottom of the 6th inning, Twins load the bases with no outs. Bases loaded, no outs. And Royce Lewis, Donovan Solano, and Joey Gallo all struck out with the bases loaded. Tough to watch that. And going to pull up some information here on the bases loaded stats. This is the Twins stats with the bases loaded compared to league average. And just unthinkably bad. That's a 170 average with a 218 on base percentage and a 266 slugging. Shockingly, they are only tied for the worst OPS in the league with the bases loaded, with Miami also has a 484 on base, or excuse me, OPS with the bases loaded. But you can see, Twins way below league average. And this is like the second year of this, to where actually their overall hitting with runners in scoring position numbers aren't really that bad. They're not very, it's actually, some of them are in the top 10 with just their general hitting with runners in scoring position. But the moment they load the bases, it's like everything goes out the window. The last 2 seasons, it's been like this. Very frustrating. Obviously, when you can't make contact, and in this case from last night with Lewis, Solano, and Gallo all striking out, it's easy to say, well, you put the ball in play, crazy stuff can happen. And we saw that 2 games ago. We saw that last night with Max Kepler hitting a double off the pitcher's shoe. He had a comebacker that hit off the pitcher's shoe and shot over into right field that he got a double on. So, obviously you want to hit the ball hard. You want to give yourself a good chance to get a hit. Defense is, I think Major League defenses are actually underrated at this point. It's so hard to put the ball in play and get a hit these days. Even with the shift restrictions, that's helped a little bit, but still, these guys are such great athletes that cover so much ground. A lot of them have cannon arms too. So it's really hard, but give yourself a chance. Anything can happen. We've seen a couple bloops. We've seen, again, that Kepler hit. But if you're striking out, you're not giving yourself a chance there. So unfortunately, the Twins could not take care of the opportunities they had at the plate. Pitching wise, Sonny Gray, taking a look at this the next day, you would say, oh, he didn't pitch that great. 4 runs over 6. Yeah, he pitched into the 7th inning. That's great. But the 4 runs, only on 4 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. But he carried it was a perfect game. He carried into the 6th inning, did Sonny Gray. So he was really rolling there for a while. And he gave up 3 runs in that inning off of, it was 4 singles and a walk. So just kind of to piggyback on that conversation of put the ball in play and you're giving yourself a chance, 4 singles they strung together. So the Pirates just kind of did a better job of condensing all of their damage into one spot. Again, what was it? The Twins had 11 hits and they only scored 4 runs. We see here the Pirates had 8 hits and they scored 7. Now, obviously that 9 column with walks, that's, a big reason. So Gray walks 3, Floro walks 2, Balazovic walked 3, gave up 3 runs in his inning. Then even Sands walked a batter. So, that's certainly giving the opposition more opportunities than you would like to. So, a bummer. Yeah, and want to call that out. The Lewis K last night was killer. Yeah, it was. And, I did mention that the zone was big. Michael A. Taylor got called out on an especially egregious strike. And, even though that didn't happen to Lewis, I think as a team that can kind of creep in the back of your mind. But you just have to stay disciplined and, grind out at bats and take good at bats and not expand. And again, it was a team effort to blow that bases loaded situation. But Royce being the first guy up with no outs, there's just so much that you can do. You just send a ball to the outfield, in that situation, and you're getting a run there at least. So, Good call out there by Twin Cities Metro Dash Cam. Again, morning edition of the system recap. So I got to take a coffee break. Should call out to my Tom's Logging Camp big lumberjack mug. If you're on the scenic side of the North Shore, going up the North Shore, make sure to stop at Tom's Logging Camp. Very fun place, especially if you got kiddos. It's pro tip. So yeah, that was the Twins game. Just taking a look at my notes I have scratched down here. Don't really have much to add on top of that from the Twins game, but we're going to talk more about the minor league side. We did call out Junior Severino and his big home run. The other big highlight, I think I have that ready now. Yep, should be. Bear with me just a moment here. Was this guy, Jorel Ortega. That is Cedar Rapids at the plate. They were wearing some kind of an alternate uniform, an alternate identity for this evening. But see, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, runner at first base. Jorel Ortega hits one high off the wall, just below being a walk-off home run. But Emmanuel Rodriguez is running on this play, and he scores all the way from first base. And it's a walk-off for Cedar Rapids. And, you know, I love these. Look at all these goofy boys jumping around. It's Ben Ross and Andrew Cassetti get to him first, and it's just a rush on Jorel Ortega, who's having a great year. Drafted out of Tennessee from last year, but he's originally from Puerto Rico, having a tremendous season. Started off with the Mighty Muscles, but now has been with Cedar Rapids for quite some time. With the walk-off single there, that was a tough game because they had a nice lead that they blew in the top of the 9th inning to tie up the game, and then so Ortega coming and bailing them out was huge. Let me pull up the notable hitting performances from last night. So again, this should feel quite a bit like a usual system recap, but wanted to give this a shot just to have this sort of as an option in my back pocket when this kind of will work better on some nights or next mornings. Anyway, Ilberto Celestino had a nice night, going 3 for 3 with a walk with the Saints. He's doing pretty solid in AAA, but not to the point where he's like demanding attention for a call up, especially with how many. It's crowded. The Twins roster is crowded right now. Especially when they get some of these guys back from injury, they're going to have some tough decisions to make in terms of who stays and who goes. So I don't think Celestino has put himself to that point where it's like, they should be thinking about making a spot for him. But it's good to see him playing pretty well for the Saints and, getting some momentum and opportunities. This is a guy who didn't play a lot of in the minors before he got called up for the first time with the Twins. So I like seeing Celestino playing out there. Alex Isola just continues to be white hot. Did not homer last night, but he did have 3 hits. Ben Ross hit a home run for the Colonels. And, obviously Jorel Ortega was the big walk-off single there for them. Jay Harry, who is the Twins' 6th-round pick out of Penn State this year, had a nice game for the Mighty Muscles. He's hitting .327 with a .433 on-base percentage in 13 games for them, an .821 OPS. Not hitting for a lot of power, but Jay Harry doing a nice job with Fort Myers in his first look at pro ball. So loving that. Switching gears over to the pitching side. Don't have any highlights from the pitchers from last night, but Simeon Wood-Richardson, want to call out, he had a nice start. He's a guy who's kind of trying to find himself. His ERA is like 5.5, I think, about in AAA right now. So I know it's over 5. So it hasn't been a good year. It's hard to get, super excited about him at this point, but I think he is kind of figuring some stuff out. And, last night's line certainly shows some reason for positivity there. Curtis Taylor is I think he's 27, 28, a guy who was originally drafted by the Diamondbacks. Got crushed last night. It's kind of unfortunate. There's been a lot of guys like that on Wichita's roster this year. Not to throw shade, but I guess I am going to throw shade. Respect these guys for continuing to grind and chase their dreams. But I'm looking forward to maybe a younger AA roster next. That team should be really fun. With a lot of these Colonels guys moving up, it's going to be a blast. CJ Culpepper had a great start too. And John Klein. So overall, I mean, if you look past Curtis Taylor, what a nice night it was pitching wise, and mix in Sonny Gray start there as well. But want to mention John Klein for the Mighty Muscles. Look at that line. 6 shutout innings with 1 hit, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. This is a guy that they picked up as an undrafted free agent who's from Brooklyn Park. So he's one of us, a Minnesotan, John Klein, and he went to college at Iowa Central Community College. So very much a under the radar guy that they have. And, his overall numbers are not great. He's had a couple real bad starts that kind of have tanked his numbers, I would say, but he's shown flashes. He has a few starts like this. I think he started out in the Florida Complex League, though, so kind of didn't really mention him too much when he was putting together good starts there, but really nice to see him show out for Fort Myers last night. And then the results from last night, all the 3 top teams lose. Colonels win on that big walk-off. Muscles win 4-0, and you see the records there. Just reviewing my notes here. I think that was everything that I wanted to touch on for today. Let me circle back to the chat. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. That could be a rant of its own. Dallas Keuchel's pitching today. Yeah, not confident in him. Looks like another loss. I mean, it doesn't look good. I don't feel good about it, but hopefully maybe the lineup shows up today. That's what I'm going to cross my fingers, Robert, and hope for. And, that was another thing I wanted to call out. You reminded me of what the Sonny Gray start is. It's just so unfortunate that he never seems to get much run support, Sonny Gray, that is. Because then it kind of accentuates some of those troubles that he's had, in the 6th inning, 7th inning, whatever. If he has a 5-run cushion or whatever, those are easy to brush away, but it just seems like Sonny Gray never gets any run support. So hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe Keuchel won't pitch well, but he'll get a ton of run support today and the Twins will find a way to win. Yeah, I agree with this too. The Saints have been very fun. That team is a blast. That team is super fun to watch. I mean, it has been for most of the year. Guys like Chris Williams, Andrew Stevenson, guys that have been there the whole time are really fun. But then you mix in Brooks Lee now, Deshaun Kersey Jr., Junior Severino. It's been a fun team to watch. Yeah, Anthony Prado. Zachary calls out. Anthony Prado has been fun since he's been called up there. Absolutely. All right. Yeah, I guess we can also do sort of a behind the scenes. I don't write a script for these ever. This is basically what I work off of as my chicken scratch on this whiteboard and just work off of my notes each night on these system recaps. There's always something I want to hit on. They're only usually, we probably average 5-6 minutes, so it's not like it's too hard to fill that time, but in case you were curious. So I hit on everything on my little whiteboard. We took a look at the highlights. You know what? We did the Severino highlight twice. Why don't we do the Ortega highlight twice? We'll leave on that one. We'll leave on that. So thanks, everybody, for coming and hanging out. This is kind of a weird time to be active. I never post anything early in the mornings or in the mornings. I suppose it's not early anymore. But thanks for hanging out. If you watched on replay, hopefully this was still enjoyable for you compared to the usual system recaps. A little bit less highlight heavy, but hopefully brought you some good information. And we're hoping for a Dallas Keuchel strong enough start today that he doesn't totally put the Twins behind, but have a feeling it's not too long before we see Louis Varland in that spot. He's been pitching really well with the Saints. He deserves it. Louis Varland deserves to be up. So hopefully he gets another shot. And, he showed flashes while up in the majors. So hopefully he takes advantage of that. But anyway, I didn't grab the premium members. Dang. Sorry. I owe you one. Thanks for watching this one. Thanks to all the channel members for sponsoring the channel. I do a extra video each week. So if you want an extra video from me on Mondays, there's a Member Monday video every week. To become a channel member, it starts at $1.99 a month. And again, you get an extra video a week. So check that out. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out. We'll talk again soon.